Have you ever felt the quiet weight of someone's silent resentment? Not a loud attack, not an open insult, just that subtle, unspoken energy. The glances that linger a little too long, the praise that never comes, the conversations that shift, the moment you enter the room. Sometimes it's a colleague who undermines you with a smile, sometimes it's a friend who downplays your success, and other times it's a stranger whose hatred seems to come out of nowhere, fueled by nothing more than your quiet progress. In a world where envy often wears the mask of politeness, you may never hear the words, "I hate you," but you'll feel them. And the question is, how do you respond? Do you confront it? Do you fight it? Do you shrink in order to stay unnoticed? Or is there a wiser path? The Stoics believe that our greatest power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering ourselves. Sometimes the most devastating blow to those who quietly root for your downfall is to live so well, so clearly aligned with your purpose, that they lose all power to affect you. In this video, we'll explore how to do just that without ever lifting a finger. Stay with me. The strength you uncover may just silence more than words ever could. 1. Don't react. Rise above. Think about it. When someone throws shade at you, when they belittle you or try to make you feel small, they're not just expressing their opinion. They're testing your control. They want to see you snap, to watch you unravel. Because when you react, when you lose your cool, they win. Your anger becomes their fuel. Your frustration validates their efforts. But when you refuse to respond, when you meet their contempt with silence, their weapons fall flat. You become an immovable force. And nothing frustrates someone who thrives on chaos more than a person who simply won't be shaken. It's natural to feel the sting of insult. You're human. Words can cut. Even the most resilient among us have moments of emotional vulnerability. But that's precisely where true power is born. Not in denying the pain, but in mastering your response to it. Picture standing still in the heart of a violent storm, calm while everything around you rages. That's what it looks like when you refuse to let hatred touch your inner peace. It's not about pretending to be unaffected. It's about knowing that their judgment doesn't define you. It's about taking back the control they're trying to steal. Stoicism teaches us that the only domain we truly own is our mind. We can't dictate what others say, how they treat us, or how they feel. But we can command how we respond. Every insult, every provocation is a choice. An invitation to step into chaos or stand firm in clarity. Those who master that choice, those who learn to pause instead of pounce, are the ones who carry real strength. Self-discipline, emotional restraint, inner awareness. These aren't just concepts, they're shields. They make you untouchable, not because you never feel pain, but because you no longer give your power away so easily. Think of someone you respect, not for their ability to clap back, but for their ability to remain grounded when others try to shake them. The mentor who never raises their voice, the friend who smiles through slander, the leader who listens but doesn't react. They win without ever swinging. Why? Because they know who they are. They don't need to prove their worth to people who are committed to misunderstanding them. Their silence is not weakness, it's wisdom, and that wisdom disarms even the most determined adversaries. You have that power within you. It doesn't require perfection. It requires intention, a conscious decision to not let hate rent space in your mind. Every time you stay true to your principles, your calm, your values, you chip away at their control. They want to provoke a storm inside you, but you build a fortress instead. The more grounded you become, the more desperate they grow because they realize they can't reach you. Their opinions don't land. Their words don't penetrate. Their hatred doesn't move you. And here's the beautiful part. The best revenge isn't retaliation, it's evolution. It's living well. It's moving forward with purpose while they remain stuck in the noise. You build, you grow, you shine, quietly, powerfully, and they watch from the sidelines as your success speaks in volumes their voices can't drown out. Not because you shouted louder, but because you chose not to shout at all. So the next time someone tests your peace, remember this. They only have power if you hand it to them. Your silence, your restraint, your focus, that's how you hurt them without ever lifting a finger. While they waste their energy trying to provoke you, You invest yours into a life of meaning, clarity, and fulfillment. And that, my friend, is the kind of victory no insult can ever erase. 2. Let calmness break their control. Have you ever noticed how deeply your calmness unsettles certain people? How your ability to remain composed, to stay grounded while others stir drama, seems to trigger a strange discomfort in those who thrive on chaos. It's because your peace, silent, steady, unshaken, isn't just a private act of strength. It's a quiet rebellion. It's a refusal to play the game they've mastered. And when you refuse to engage, when you don't flinch, it throws them into confusion. They expected you to react. They wanted you to argue, to defend, to rise to. Their bait. But when you remain still, they have nothing left to push against, and that to them is unbearable. Your peace exposes their volatility. Your calm becomes a mirror, reflecting the disorder they carry within. This is the great paradox. Those who try to unnerve you are often the most unsettled themselves. When they hurl insults or provoke you with passive aggression, they're looking for confirmation that they can control how you feel. They feed off the emotional chaos of others. But when you don't give them that satisfaction, when you breathe instead of break, they are left powerless. Their entire strategy collapses. It's like swinging a sword at smoke, nothing lands. Picture this. Someone tries to undermine you at work or in your personal life. They gossip, they attack, they look for weaknesses. Most people would instinctively jump to defend themselves, to clarify, to set the record straight. But you, stoic in thought and presence, pause. You respond only if necessary. And when you do, your words are few but firm. You understand that their opinion isn't your reality. You remember who you are and what you stand for. In that moment, you reclaim your power, not through retaliation, but through restraint. The Stoics were never concerned with controlling the world. They were concerned with mastering themselves. Marcus Aurelius said it clearly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And when you practice this, when you begin to live as though your peace is sacred, you begin to disarm those who seek to disturb it. Your calmness becomes a fortress, not passive, not weak, but conscious, active, alert. This isn't about pretending things don't hurt. It's not emotional denial. It's the highest form of self-respect, to feel, to acknowledge, and still choose not to be ruled by that emotion. This kind of poise takes practice. It's not easy. But every time you hold yourself steady under pressure, you reinforce your inner foundation. And the more steady you are, the more unstable those who try to shake you will appear. Because suddenly it becomes obvious. Their aggression isn't a reflection of your weakness. It's a confession of their own. You want to know what makes this so powerful. It scales in every environment, from a toxic meeting to a jealous friendship to a random online attack. Your peace is a universal weapon. When you don't respond, they don't get to write your story. When you stay grounded, you rob them of the role they so desperately wanted, the one where they control your emotions. Let them be loud, let them be messy. You remain still, and in doing so, something beautiful happens. Your peace becomes contagious. People will notice, they'll feel it, they'll be drawn to it. Because in a world that's constantly shouting, someone who chooses quiet power is magnetic. You become an anchor, not just for yourself, but for others. And those who can't stand to see you balanced. They fall apart under the weight of their own noise, so protect your calm like it's sacred. Because it is. It's not only your defense, it's your declaration. And every time you choose peace over provocation, every time you stay still while they try to shake you, you rise quietly, completely untouchable. 3. Be indifferent to the unworthy. Insults are curious things. They're not just meant to sting, they're crafted to pull you into battle. Every cutting word, every jab at your character is an invitation to react. But here's the truth that Stoics understood well. An insult only has power if you pick it up. If someone throws a stone and you don't catch it, it falls to the ground. Harmless. That's what indifference does. It's not apathy. It's control. It's your refusal to hand over emotional power to those who never earned it. Imagine someone attacking you, mocking your appearance, questioning your abilities, twisting your words. Your instinct may scream, defend yourself. But what if instead you met it with silence, not because you're weak, but because you've already seen through the game? You understand that the insult says more about their inner chaos than about your worth. And by not reacting, by refusing to take the bait, you deny them the reward they desperately crave: your attention, your energy, your emotional disruption. You starve their fire of oxygen, and in that moment you win, not with words, but with stillness. Stoicism reminds us that no one controls our peace unless we allow them to. Marcus Aurelius once asked, "Why do we value the opinion of others more than our own?" That question cuts deep. We carry insults not because they're true, but because we grant them space in our minds. But what if you chose deliberately to be unmoved, not out of coldness, but out of self-respect? Indifference then becomes a form of wisdom, a shield made, not of arrogance, but of clarity. Consider this: a co-worker constantly criticizes you, hoping to undermine your confidence. Every meeting is a stage for their passive attacks. You could snap, you could retaliate, but instead, you keep your posture, your focus. You respond only when necessary and always with poise. Over time, their frustration grows. Why? Because you're not playing the game. You're showing them that their words don't anchor your self-image. And that kind of emotional discipline is a power few possess. The truth is, insults hurt the most when they echo something we already fear. That's why they find footing. But when you've done the inner work, when your sense of worth no longer hinges on external approval, insults become noise, background chatter in a world you no longer need validation from. This doesn't mean the words won't sting, but it means the sting fades fast because your focus is not on the pain, but on your path. And your path is too important to be derailed by petty provocations. Choosing not to react isn't just about you. It's a message to everyone watching. You show what real strength looks like. You model a calm that others want to emulate. And slowly, the environment around you shifts. There's less drama, less escalation, because your energy says, "This isn't worth it, I've outgrown the noise." And that signal is louder than any comeback. This isn't passive tolerance. This is intentional strategy. You're not allowing disrespect. You're refusing to dignify it with your emotional labor. You choose what deserves your energy and what doesn't. You save your strength for what matters, your growth, your peace, your purpose. And in doing so, you rob your enemies of their favorite weapon, your reaction. Indifference is not a lack of care. It's the highest form of care for your inner world. It's saying, "I will not bleed for your approval. I will not crumble for your amusement." When you reach this state, your calm becomes untouchable, and those who once tried to rattle you, they're left punching the air, confused by their own powerlessness. So next time someone insults you, remember, you don't need to respond to every bark. Some things are best met with a look, a pause, or silence, because in that space, you preserve your dignity and their words lose all meaning. This is Stoic calmness in its purest form, not the absence of feeling, but the refusal to let feeling control you. The one who cannot be provoked, cannot be defeated. Be that person. 4. Win through virtue. There is something profoundly disarming about a person who chooses to live with unwavering virtue. When you meet hostility, not with retaliation but with integrity, you do something that confuses and frustrates those who wish you harm. You take away their power. Your calmness may unsettle them, your silence may infuriate them, but your virtue, that's what leaves them truly powerless. Because when everything about you is anchored in what's right, no manipulation, insult, or scheme can land a blow. You become untouchable, not through pride but through principle. Virtue in its purest form is not perfection. It is the daily decision to live honestly, to act with courage, to respond with compassion even when it's difficult, especially when it's difficult. In a world where most people react impulsively, where shortcuts are normalized and values are bent for convenience, your choice to stand firm in your ethics is a radical act. It is an act of rebellion against mediocrity, against dishonesty, against manipulation. And those who thrive on malice will never understand how someone can choose that harder path. Not because they have to, but because it's who they are. Picture Someone trying to discredit you. Maybe they're spreading rumors, twisting facts, hoping to corner you into reacting. Their expectation is simple: you'll slip, you'll lash out, you'll bend under pressure. But instead you keep showing up, calm, respectful, diligent. You continue your work with grace, you refuse to compromise, and slowly their narrative falls apart. Because while they try to provoke chaos, your actions speak louder. Your consistency reveals their manipulation for what it is: noise. And when others begin to see your integrity, the contrast becomes undeniable. You don't need to defend yourself. Your character does it for you. The Stoics believed that virtue was the highest good. Not wealth, not praise, not even comfort. Just the clear, unwavering choice to do what is right. Why? Because virtue can't be taken from you. It's the one thing in life that's entirely within your control. You may lose status, face criticism, even be betrayed. But your decision to remain virtuous is yours and yours alone. And when people realize that nothing they do can shake your moral foundation, it's deeply unsettling. They expect retaliation. They crave chaos. But you respond calmly, and that leaves them scrambling. It's important to understand that living with virtue isn't passive. It's not about allowing others to walk over you. On the contrary, it takes incredible strength, because sometimes doing the right thing costs you something in the short term: an opportunity, a relationship, your image in the eyes of shallow people. But what you gain is so much greater: peace, clarity, self-respect, and long-term credibility that no rumor can tarnish. Think of someone who has pressured you to cut corners, to do something you know goes against your values. Maybe it would have been easier to say yes, to go along, to stay silent. But when you stood your ground, even if it cost you, you didn't just protect your integrity. You became a symbol to others. You proved that living rightly is not only possible but powerful. Your courage gave them permission to do the same. That's what virtue does. It ripples. Virtue also dismantles another weapon used by those who hate you: their expectation that you'll break character, that you'll stoop to their level, but you don't. And that's what hurts them most, because their tactics, gossip, deception, pressure, don't work on someone who refuses to trade their soul for a momentary win. Your strength is in your restraint, your discipline, your compassion, even when it's not returned. This isn't easy. It requires vigilance. There will be moments when the temptation to respond in kind burns inside you. But each time you choose virtue over vengeance, you grow stronger. You become more grounded, more untouchable. And while others exhaust themselves, plotting and provoking, you keep building, slowly, quietly, consistently. And here's the reward. The life you create through virtue is one of substance. It doesn't rely on approval, manipulation, or control. It is built on truth. And over time, truth always outlasts noise. So when others try to pull you into drama, remember, your virtue is not just your shield, it's your silent victory. Let your life speak for you. Let your actions remind them, I cannot be shaken because I do not play your game. 5. Let discipline speak for you. There's something uniquely infuriating to those who secretly want you to fail. Watching you win through quiet, consistent effort. They can mock your beginnings, question your potential, even laugh at your discipline. But when your success starts to speak louder than their criticism, they're left with nothing to say. And this is where self-discipline becomes your greatest weapon. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't seek validation. It simply delivers results. And those results silence every whisper of doubt more powerfully than any argument ever could. Self-discipline at its core is the daily choice to honor your goals, even when it's inconvenient. It's a quiet commitment to keep moving forward when no one is watching. For your enemies, the ones who count on your failure, who expect you to crack when things get hard, this is the most maddening quality of all. They bet on your distraction. They hope you'll grow tired, but you show up every day. You rise early when others sleep in. You focus when others drift. And slowly, your actions accumulate into something undeniable. Think about the Stoic principle. Don't waste your energy on what you can't control. Invest it into mastering yourself. That's the essence of discipline. When life throws resistance your way, distractions, temptations, critics, your discipline becomes your compass. It keeps you aligned with what matters most. even when the path is slow or steep. And it's precisely this slow, deliberate movement that frustrates those who want you to stumble, because they can't interrupt it. They can't rush it. They can't shake it. Imagine someone at work who constantly doubts you. They scoff at your goals, question your capacity, subtly sabotage your efforts. In their mind, you're going to quit. You'll slip, you'll crumble under pressure. But what happens instead? You ignore their noise, you focus, you refine, and one day you achieve exactly what they said you couldn't. Not by grand gestures, but by small, consistent steps that built something no one can deny. That's the power of discipline. It doesn't need to scream, it just proves. What they fail to understand is this. Self-discipline isn't just about working harder, it's about working smarter. It's about learning to say no, not just to distractions, but to your own impulses, to your desire for quick praise or instant results. And every time you choose long-term purpose over short-term relief, you chip away at their influence. Their opinions lose weight. Their criticisms fade into irrelevance, because your life is speaking for you loudly and clearly. The disciplined person doesn't need approval. They define success on their own terms. That's why they're dangerous to those who manipulate through judgment and insecurity. You frustrate them because they can't lure you off track. They can't tempt you with applause. They can't discourage you with silence. You're not seeking permission to succeed. You've already granted it to yourself. This internal mastery, this ability to stay rooted in your path despite setbacks, is what makes you untouchable. While others collapse under the weight of comparison, you stay grounded in your process. And when that process bears fruit, your critics are left stunned. Because discipline doesn't just lead to success, it builds unshakable confidence. Not the kind that's loud and boastful, but the kind that knows exactly what it's capable of because it's earned every step. So stay steady. Keep showing up. Let your progress be the response. Your consistency is louder than their doubt. Your focus is more cutting than any comeback. And one day, they'll realize that while they were busy talking, you were building. That's the beauty of self-discipline. It speaks last, and it speaks with results. 6. Let adversity build you. Adversity is the crucible where real power is forged. Those who hate you, who quietly hope you'll stumble, break, or fade, often rely on the weight of difficulty to do the damage they themselves cannot. They don't always attack you directly. Sometimes they simply wait. They wait for life to hit you hard. They wait for disappointment, for failure, for crisis. And in those moments when you're tested, they expect you to collapse under pressure. But when you rise stronger, when you endure the pain and emerge with greater strength, clarity, and resolve, they are left helpless. Their unspoken hopes of your downfall die quietly with every step forward you take. In the Stoic view, adversity is not the enemy. It is the opportunity. It is the training ground for the soul. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Your enemies hope obstacles will derail you, but the Stoic transforms every obstacle into fuel. You're not broken by hardship. You are shaped by it. You don't collapse when life gets hard. You adapt, you learn, and you rise. That's what makes you unstoppable. And that's what frustrates those who hope to see you fail. Think of a time when everything seemed to turn against you. Maybe it was a job loss, a betrayal, or a string of unexpected failures. You were vulnerable, wounded, alone, and someone, perhaps, even silently was watching, waiting for you to break. But instead of quitting, you kept going. You faced the storm, not with rage or revenge, but with quiet persistence. You didn't scream. You didn't beg for sympathy. You simply endured. And because of that, you emerged stronger, not weaker. That strength, that resilience, is what silences your enemies far more effectively than any argument ever could. Resilience is not about pretending things don't hurt. It's about knowing they do and choosing to move anyway. It's about showing up for your life despite the weight on your shoulders. The Stoics never denied pain. They trained themselves to rise above its control. That's what Stoic resilience is. It's not resistance to suffering, it's mastery of response. When you respond to adversity with grace, with patience, with a calm that no hardship can touch, you send a message to your enemies without saying a word. You cannot break me. Your enemies lose power over you the moment they realize that nothing they throw your way will make you surrender. They expect adversity to expose your weakness. But when it exposes your strength instead, when you become more focused, more disciplined, more grounded, that revelation disarms them. Your growth makes them question their own stagnation. Your peace makes them confront their own chaos. Your endurance shines a light on their cowardice, and the more you rise, the more their schemes dissolve into irrelevance. There's a deeper truth at work here. Resilience reveals character. It separates those who live by reaction from those who live by principle. Anyone can stay calm when things are easy, but the one who remains composed in suffering, the one who keeps their integrity when tested, who keeps showing up when unseen, this is the person who commands respect even from their enemies. This is the one who becomes impossible to ignore. Let your progress be your revenge. Let your quiet victories echo louder than their loud criticism. Let your refusal to fall feed their frustration. The Stoic doesn't just survive adversity, they use it. Every setback is repurposed, every failure is recycled, every hardship becomes a step beneath their feet. That's why the Stoic cannot be defeated, because even defeat becomes part of their ascent. When you're grounded in your values, focused on your growth and committed to walking through life with quiet determination, no enemy, no insult, no misfortune can define you. You become what they fear the most, someone they cannot control, cannot predict and cannot break. So the next time life hits you hard and those who hate you start to whisper behind your back, remember this: your strength is not just in how you fight, but in how you endure. Let your rise be the answer. Let your unshaken resolve be the final word. Let adversity do its worst and show the world that nothing can stop a soul that has made peace with pain and turned suffering into strength. That is how you win without lifting a finger. 7. Use silence as power. In a world addicted to noise where everyone scrambles to be heard, to prove, to explain, there is something radically powerful about saying nothing. Silence, when used with intention, becomes a force, a weapon that cuts without striking. It becomes a presence so commanding it unnerves those who seek to provoke you. The Stoics understood this well. They knew that sometimes saying nothing isn't surrender, it's victory. Imagine someone publicly challenging you, throwing insults, questioning your integrity, and baiting you to react. The average person would lash out, feeling cornered, compelled to defend their name, their pride. But what if, instead, you simply stared back with calm eyes and said nothing? No defense, no denial, just silence. That silence becomes deafening. It echoes louder than any retort. Because in that moment, you are no longer on trial. They are, and they know it. Stoic silence isn't passivity, it's power mastered. It's not fear of confrontation, but wisdom recognizing which battles are beneath you. There is dignity in not lowering yourself to petty exchanges. When someone attacks you and you remain unmoved, it signals something undeniable. You are not controlled by them. You are not ruled by your emotions. You are governed by reason. Marcus Aurelius once reflected, "We all love ourselves more than others, yet care more about their opinion than our own." This is the paradox of the human condition. We crave external approval, yet neglect our inner judgment. But the moment you stop needing to explain yourself, the moment you trust your own integrity more than public perception, that's when you become truly free. Let your silence confuse them. Let them wonder why their insult didn't land, why their accusation didn't pierce. When someone attempts to manipulate you through provocation, what they fear most is your refusal to engage. Because if you don't react, they cannot escalate. They cannot twist your words. They are left alone, swinging at air. Their theater of drama has lost its audience. But it takes discipline to remain silent when your pride is on the line, to not correct the lie, to not respond to the slander. Yet each time you do, you reinforce your inner fortress. You teach yourself, I don't owe a response to chaos. Silence, in the Stoic sense, is not suppression. It's discernment. It's knowing when speaking is necessary and when it would only waste your energy. This restraint isn't just a defense. It's a signal to others. People notice when you don't engage in drama. They watch when you don't flinch at provocation. Over time, your silence earns more respect than noise ever could. It says, "I do not need to prove anything. I already know who I am." Even in the digital age, this principle holds. Online insults, public criticism, passive-aggressive comments. They are traps designed to lure you into a war of words. But when you don't take the bait, when you walk away or say nothing, your silence speaks volumes. It reveals a depth of self-assurance that most people don't have. And that kind of peace cannot be faked. Think of silence not as an absence, but as a mirror. When you don't react, the other person is left to face themselves. They project their anger and it bounces back. They throw negativity and it doesn't land. That mirror forces them to confront the real source of their aggression, their own insecurity. And that realization is often more painful than any comeback you could have delivered. In relationships, silence is equally powerful. When you give space instead of arguments, when you listen without interruption, when you allow the other person to fill the silence, they often reveal more than they intended. And in that quiet, you gain understanding, perspective, and peace. So, the next time you feel the urge to respond, to defend, to react, pause. Ask yourself, is this response for me or for them? If it's only to satisfy your ego or silence their attack, perhaps the stronger move is to say nothing at all. Because the Stoic knows the loudest strength is often the quietest. The greatest control isn't dominance over others, but mastery over yourself. And the most devastating response to hate is silence. Let them shout. Let them gossip. Let them invent stories. Your silence will be the echo they fear the most.